And find out what links the Hollywood blockbuster Avatar to a Canadian campaign to save an ancient rainforest. It's just after 6 a.m. in crisis-hit Libya. Leader Muammar Gaddafi is now calling for an international investigation into the violence taking place in his country. This as forces loyal to him are fighting hard to hold on to their territory. Scores of people have died in the latest clashes. And now anti-regime gunmen are trying to advance towards Gaddafi's hometown of Sirte. Let's go through the latest. The rebel-controlled city of AlJazeera came under heavy shelling from pro-Gaddafi forces on Saturday. Tanks were seen on the city's outskirts. A local doctor told AlJazeera that up to 15 people were killed in the latest violence, while medical supplies are running dangerously low. But Gaddafi's regime has insisted that its forces have been making inroads into the city. Libyan state TV has shown pictures of tanks, armored personnel carriers, and other weapons that it claims were captured from the rebels in AlJazeera. And state TV also has broadcast interviews of Tripoli residents going about their normal lives. Many are shown lashing out at the foreign media, saying that they were distorting the situation in Libya. And in the opposition stronghold of Benghazi, the head of the newly formed interim council tells AlJazeera it expects international recognition very soon. This as the city buried some of those killed in an explosion at an arms dump on Friday. That attack is being blamed on Gaddafi's forces. Further to the west, rebels claim to have taken full control of the oil port of Ras Lanouf. Some government soldiers in the strategic town have reportedly switched sides. Hoda Abdelhamid is there.
The opposition forces are now quite close to Sirte, the hometown of Gaddafi. At the moment, they are regrouping, trying to find some sort of military structure for them to continue their advance. They do realize that hitting Sirte is going to be much more difficult than whatever they have met so far, just because it's the hometown of Gaddafi, and also because it's where most of his paramilitary elite forces are based under the direct commands of his sons. Sirte is also a much bigger city than Ajdabiya, Breda or Ras Lanouf, so they do expect fiercest opposition from the pro-Gaddafi loyalists. However, they are emboldened. They do have a lot of weapons, heavy weapons. We have seen anti-aircraft guns. We have seen also other kind of rocket-propelled grenades and rocket launcher. Each time a town falls, they basically raid the military base and get more weapons. Now they do say that this is the point of no return. They're going to Sirte, and after Sirte, they say they're going to head to Tripoli, and inside Tripoli, they want to head directly to AlJazeera, which is a location where we believe Muammar Gaddafi and his family are at the moment.
In his latest interview, Muammar Gaddafi claims his loyalists are doing well despite the crisis. He's also lashed out at Western nations for turning their backs on him. He says, "I'm surprised that nobody understands that this is a fight against terrorism. Why is it that when we are in a fight against terrorism here in Libya, no one helps us in return?" Meanwhile, the opposition council in Benghazi has appointed a number of former diplomats to key positions. Mustafa Abid Jalil told AlJazeera it expects to be recognized internationally very soon.
اخترنا السيد الدكتور علي عبد العزيز العيساوي منسقا للشؤون الخارجية.
Ali Isawi, the former ambassador to India, is now in charge of foreign affairs. He will start his work from tomorrow. There are some contacts with Arabic and European states to seek recognition of the Council, and we are sensing that there are positive steps in that direction to recognize the Council. There is a military leadership who is coordinating the military activities on the various fronts, and there are specialized and professional people, but the support of the Libyan people is key in these activities. Our goal is to push towards Sirte and break the grip between Musrata and eventually break the hold on Tripoli.
As fighting continues across the country, food supplies are being more scarce, and the concern is that supply lines will be cut off by more clashes. Jackie Rowland has more from Ajdabiya.
A rare sight in Ajdabiya, a queue outside the bakery. Buying bread has never been a problem before, but now if you want it, you have to wait for it.
Well, as you can see, the problem isn't a shortage of flour. They've got sacks and sacks of the stuff. The wheat is imported. The flour mill is about 100 kilometers to the east of here, and they're not having any problems getting deliveries of flour.
The bakery is owned and run by Egyptians. When the uprising started, half the staff ran away, so the baker is training a few local men to do the job. The problem is that the people of AlJazeera are eating bread more quickly than they can make it. Bread is cheap and filling. You can buy a big bagful for $1. These are violent and uncertain times, but at least people aren't going hungry.
The biggest problem now in AlJazeera is all these civilians running around with weapons. And the second problem comes from the west. We are afraid that the Gaddafi Air Force will bomb us.
For now, there's no shortage of food. There's a good selection of basic products in the shops and even some luxury items. But ports in Libya are out of action for now. So when the stocks in the warehouses run out, these shelves may start to look empty.
We have problems because a lot of food comes from western Libya and the roads are closed because of the fighting. Other products come from the Arab souk in Benghazi and that's closed as well. So you can find imported goods in the shops, but not local produce.
Families can still put a meal on the table, but vegetables and other fresh produce are scarce. If the fighting gets closer to AlJazeera, the supply of food will inevitably be affected. Jackie Rowland, AlJazeera in eastern Libya.
To Egypt now, where the Prime Minister Essam Sharaf has appointed a new Interior Minister. According to the Prime Minister's Facebook page, General Mansour El Asawi, a former Director of Security, will take over the new cabinet position. The Prime Minister is also expected to appoint former Judge Nabil El Arabi as the new Foreign Minister. The new appointments come after angry protesters stormed state security buildings in Cairo and Alexandria on Saturday. They say the officials are trying to destroy sensitive documents.
First came the ousting, and now comes the justice. Habib al-Adli, Egypt's former interior minister, mobbed by demonstrators shouting, "Execute him," as he was leaving court. Al-Adli is on trial for money laundering and profiteering. But people here want to see him tried for ordering the police to open fire on protesters during the revolution. And that's not all. This man says Al-Adli is responsible for setting prisoners free and deliberately causing chaos during the protests. This woman tells us it's not just Al-Adli but all corrupt Interior Ministry officials who have policed with an iron fist that should stand trial.
For over 10 years, Habib al-Adli was the face of one of the most hated institutions here, the Interior Ministry, as well as the security apparatus that came under its command. People are still asking for that security apparatus to be dismantled.
Outside state security headquarters in Cairo, that's exactly what was happening. Protesters demanding police forces leave the streets and a complete restructure of the security services. They claim now officials are going on trial. Police officers are burning and shredding any documents which could incriminate them and their bosses in the future.
They're burning all the papers behind this wall, and that's why some of us went inside and took the papers that they haven't completely burnt yet,